Time for our next topic: inclusion, innovation, and impact. For that, we have Dr. Ritesh Malik, who's a medical doctor by education but took a career detour and became a technology entrepreneur while doing his house surgency at Gangaram Hospital. He's the founder of Innovate Co-working, which is one of the largest shared office providers in India. Ritesh is very passionate about building platforms to empower the next generation of founders in India to develop products for Bharat. And Ms. Sarika Gupta Bhattacharya.
Hi, Ritesh. It's always such a
Hi.
pleasure to meet you. And
Likewise,
how do we?
Sarika. Thank you.
So, Ritesh, one of the most exciting part of knowing about you has been the way you have pivoted your journey, especially in your career. You are trained as a medical doctor, and but you went on to become an entrepreneur. So, tell me a bit about your initial journey.
Okay, so this is a very interesting question. I'm born, and you should know about my background. I'm born in a middle class Punjabi family. We have 37 doctors in the family, and we are not allowed to do anything but become a doctor. And we have something called the APS, which is very prevalent as a disease in countries like India, China, Vietnam, and especially the Southeast Asian countries. And this is called the Asian parent syndrome, where your parents decide your career based on their knowledge, based on their comfort areas. And that led to me becoming a doctor. I was not allowed to pursue my passion for economics. So I realized that as a country, we have and I stay in a joint family, so we have a lot of say of our relatives and our society in what career we want to pursue, and not particularly what DNA we have or what passion areas we have. And there's a distinct line between in your passion. Your passion can be good as a hobby, and what you want to do for earning a bread on your table. So I realized this early on, and this was very pivotal in my life, the fact that it is 83 trillion is to one chance that you become a human. So for me, my life's motto is do not do anything in which does not make you happy. If even if you don't get paid well, the idea is that you should only and only focus on things that actually charge you with your or intellectual passion, and connect you with your soul. So took that detour while working at Gangaram Hospital. One day I realized that this is a vicious cycle. My parents told that you do MBBS, uske baad everything will be fine, and then they said that you do your MD in pediatrics, then everything will be fine. And then I realized that this is a typical case of a vicious cycle, that I will keep on getting sunk into their entire perfect lifestyle example of Ritesh becoming a doctor, whereas I used to hate seeing patients. So one day I took a call that I don't want to do that, and fought with the family and started with my entrepreneurial career.
Now, this is so interesting, Ritesh, because you decided to choose passion. And like you spoke so well about Asian parent syndrome. All of us have gone through this, but you decided to pursue your passion. So kudos to you. But tell me this, when you did decide to ultimately quit your medical career, which is so-called your noble profession, which a lot of people say, was there any kind of a societal pushback on that? And eventually to become an entrepreneur? How did you go about it? How did you decide on that path?
Of course, I think whenever you do something different, especially in India, and now I think we are still becoming mature. In 2019, the key event that happened was the fact that Chandrayaan as a mission failed, and this was not about failure, but the fact that for the first time 136 crore Indians held each other's hand and said that it's okay to fail. It's okay. It's good that at least we reached 35 to 40 meters above the surface of the moon. So I think failure is one of the most critical catalysts in anyone's journey who has achieved something in life. And as I have an acronym for fail is nothing but a first attempt in learning. The most important part of one's journey is failure. And anything, the moment you take a detour from convention, the moment you take the road less traveled, as Robert Frost said, and that there are always two roads that will emerge in front of you, and take the one less traveled, and that will always make the difference. So I read a beautiful poem back in 2013 when I was on the verge of this decision, and which said that संगठन बहुत साहस देता है, crowd will give you a lot of support, but आपकी पहचान छीन लेता है. It will always is make sure that you are not individualistically remembered in, and you don't create a legacy. So for me, I realized that I need to do something different from my peers, and I think and my mother asked me that what will you do, and I said I will sell chole bhature, but I will not become a doctor. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do some business. I don't know what that business will be. That business might be health related. That business might be anything, but I will not become a doctor. And that is something that I have a mission to help people understand that it's not hard. The hardest part of doing anything hard is the decision to do that and take that route to that hard journey. Because anything that humans start, they will eventually achieve. The problem is 99.99% of us, they don't start. We don't jump. We continuously need validity, and as a business, we run one of the largest co-working spaces in the country, and I meet a lot of early founders, and they continuously keep coming to me that when should we start a business. And I always say the best time to start your business was yesterday. The second best time is today. You will never have perfect timing, and as Indians, we are continuously, and that's because of Bollywood, that's because of how our society has trained us to be procrastinators for achieving. We are never taught to enjoy the journey. We are constantly taught to enjoy the goal, the destination, and that needs to change. And in the pursuit of happiness, the most important thing is to do something that you there's a beautiful word for it called meraki, the ability of you to actually put your soul into something and create something in so vividly beautiful that the world applauds. So I think putting your best at your work irrespective, and I always say this, that अगर आप janitor हो, अगर आप housekeeper हो, if you are a housekeeper, you clean the washroom in such a beautiful manner that people salute you कि यार क्या सफाई की है आपने. It does not, काम कोई छोटा नहीं होता. So I think that is extremely important. Your ability to jump, to do the work, and taking action irrespective of fear of failure is very important.
So Ritesh, this is so beautifully said, to let go of the fear of failure and to just take a jump. And like truly Punjabi said, it doesn't matter what I do, even if it means selling chole bhature. But in that quest of figuring it out, whether it's chole bhature or whether it's innovate, you must have met quite a few people, heard their diverse perspectives. How did it impact your journey? How did it ultimately help you?
So I realized one thing, that one trait which is extremely core in terms of your fundamentals is the fact that you need to take 100% responsibility. The only way to take risks is the fact that you need to take 100% accountability of your life. You cannot blame your parents, you cannot blame your friends. It's your life, and you need to take accountability for that. The moment you start doing that, you actually don't use scapegoats for your failures. You actually start taking 100. And in the book of leadership, the most important principle is all the success is the team's success and all the failures are mine. The moment you have this kind of so early on in my life, I realized that I need to ensure that I am in the steering wheel. I will not be dictated by my family members or my friends, and I will go take diverse set of experiences. And one thing which has worked extremely in favor of my life was the fact that I did not have any baggage. I did not have an MBA. I did not have any engineering degree. I came from a background which was so close. Doctors have a very tunnel vision. So I had my glass was completely empty. I didn't have a full glass. So I think that really helped me to adopt massive amounts of diversity and learn from all sets of people the good qualities of how to become an entrepreneur. And eventually he started with a lot of different businesses, failed massively, and I realized that each and every failure really helped me learn more about myself, my weaknesses, because as a founder, when you start a business, you actually get a red eye towards your weaknesses. So multiple failures helped me actually see myself in the mirror on what all areas. And the good part of human life is, if you candidly observe a human's life yourself, you know each and every failure that you have. If today I stand in front of the mirror, I can be absolutely naked about my entire mistakes that I'm doing. I can fool all the people sometimes, some people all the times, but I cannot fool myself. So I think that candidness is to actually reflect on your journey, is see your weaknesses and learn from them, is something which is extremely important, which really helped me to start with Innovate.
No, Ritesh, this is very interesting. You spoke about getting diverse experiences. You went around. I know for a fact that you went around, sought mentors, sought diverse perspectives from them. How did, and Innovate is such a beautiful example which came, I mean, it's such a beautiful journey which came out of it. How did it ultimately lead you to, innovate yourself? Because as you rightly said, you went through what you call a catharsis. You went through a different kind of a journey altogether, which you were never a part of. How did it lead you to innovate for yourself? Um, like the way we say that, diversity actually leads to a lot of innovation. How do you think that actually led you to think of a journey which was so different, that which you have never tread before? It was so different.
So this is very interesting. I think the most important part of anyone in any person's journey is massive levels of diversity. The more diverse as perspectives you are exposed to, the better choices you make, and the better choices you make help you take better decisions on a day-to-day basis. And a person is nothing but a set of decisions that he or she makes on a daily basis. So for me, I've been very fortunate to have a plethora of diverse set of perspectives is in front of me. And I think that is extremely important. The more the number of people that you meet, I think you are a product of the top 5 people with whom you spend the most amount of your time. So for me, that diversity was extremely important. I used to spend a lot of time with a lot of mentors, seeking their guidance on ideas, and realize that there are so many newer mistakes to make. Why to repeat mistakes which others have already made? So I actually made a red book of mistakes which others made, so that I do not repeat those, and I should make a fresh new big mistakes which others can learn from. So I think it's all about making healthy mistakes. It's all about taking the right quantum of risk, and at the same time ensuring that you never get comfortable. And I'm a student of biology, and I always say this: my favorite scientist has been Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin has a beautiful quote. He says that it's not the fastest or the largest who will survive. And this is for humans as well. It's not the fastest or the largest who will survive. It is the one who adapts to change very quickly who will survive. So as humans, as businesses, we need to ensure we are in the 2020 era. We need to ensure that on a daily basis, success is rented. Because success is a peak, only one person can stand on that peak. So for ensuring that, you need to pay a price on a daily basis. And for ensuring that, you either grow or perish. There's nothing called a constancy in terms of constancy is a paradox. So in my opinion, you need to innovate on a daily basis. We are foreseeing one of the largest human resource crisis in front of us, where we will be seeing millions of jobs becoming redundant in the future. So the most important thing, if anyone can do right now, and gone are the days when in education degrees will help you. You need to ensure that you are skilled. You need to ensure that you adopt technology in whatever you do, irrespective. You be it a doctor, be it a CA. If you do not know technology, you will not be able to survive in the cutthroat wars of the future. So I believe that innovation is something that I think the most important attribute of any company in going forward. I think Amazon is the most innovative company, and that is why it will become the largest company in the coming 1 decade. I think innovation is not only for companies, it is for human beings. Keeping yourself updated, making sure you constantly evolve. Evolution as a word is beautiful. So I think that everyone, even if you're looking for a job, make sure that your attitude, your bent of mind consistently should be to innovate yourself on a day-to-day basis. And if you have this meter, okay, every day I need to innovate this much, read and develop good habits. Read 3 pages a day. That's sufficient. And understand the power of compounding.
That's so beautifully said, Ritesh, because I personally believe that the more diverse experience, the more diverse perspectives you seek from other people, as well as keeping yourself relevant. What you were talking about was also keeping yourself relevant in today's day and age. If technology is becoming a backbone of all industries and all sectors, make sure that you are relevant in that space, because that's one leveraging power. I mean, technology has a huge leveraging power. You know, I'll come back to this whole journey of inclusion, innovation, and how it created an impact. Innovate, or rather the co-working business in itself. Um, of course, today in COVID times, we have seen a disruptor yet happening. But in some ways, a few years ago, co-working spaces also disrupted the whole startup ecosystem. It disrupted the way the businesses were operating. It created more collaborations. It created more impact. What do you think has been an impact which Innovate, your venture, has left on different other ventures, has left on the different other startups?
So I truly believe that a person is as productive as his environment. And for us, innovate is nothing but creation of an environment which is so beautiful. And let me just rewind. 2010, 2012, when you went to offices, you used to feel so Monday blues were actually such a massive disease in our country. Sunday evening, people would actually start having a headache and a paranoia that they need to go to offices because people were not getting the right office culture. And office culture will completely transform in the next 5 years, as offices for us were a place where people used to stringently go or do their biometrics and just be there for 8 hours and maybe be only 1 hour productive. But now things are completely going to transform for us. That entire journey is just that ability to help people to be as productive as they can. And the only way to do that was the fact that you create the most beautiful welcoming environment. You create colors which actually help people produce their best intellectual passions, and at the same time give them amazing coffee. Make sure that they do not, and ye to, I'm talking about cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore. You go to an office in Kanpur and you will cry. There is no women's washroom in most of the offices in places like Kanpur. You need to give, if you need to be the, so for us, Innovate is nothing but a place where, irrespective of your passion, you just be there. And if you have this energy, this much of work left today, you will actually give this much because of the fact that you are in a place which is so welcoming, at the same time in which has so many ideation rooms, conference rooms. You need to be at the peak of your productivity. So for us, Innovate is that we have I think pan India, we have close to 40 campuses. We have pre-COVID, we had multiple tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, freelancers, social enterprises, student founders be a part of this community. And for us, this community is not only a real estate plethora of 1 million square feet, but the fact that so many people come together at an intersection and create something called the entire movement of helping in build products from Bharat. That entire feeling, even today, 29% of all the workforce of FANG, Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon, Alphabet, Netflix is Indian in origin, and these are the same Indians. They come back and they complain that यहाँ पे opportunities नहीं है. So for us, the idea was that we are genetically one of the most advanced species is in terms of subset of species when it comes to humans as Indians. Our whole idea is to empower Indian entrepreneurs, irrespective of their backgrounds, to come and create technology products from Bharat.
You know, you so well said on this, because at the end of the day, the biggest challenge India is facing is the ecosystem. You know, what is the kind of an ecosystem which we are providing to ultimately support the innovation, to ultimately support startups and incubators and entrepreneurs? uh, Ritesh, what is the next big thing? I know you are also involved in Plaksha, and I would like you to share a little bit about why did you get involved in Plaksha, and why do you think it is closer to the passion which you are doing currently right now?
So I think Plaksha is one of the most I think it's one of the most endearing activities that a person can be a part of. Uh, After giving birth, I think education is the most pious activity any human can go through. So I believe that, and that is why guru and the sad part of this country is that for the past 75 years education has become one of the least prioritized activity by the government, at the same time by the private sector. I truly believe that education, if you want a nation to exceed, the only way to do is by changing education. Now, do you know why our system is massively at failure in when it comes to education? Because we have millions of Ritesh Maliks in this world who are not passionate about engineering, doctors, to become a doctor, to become a CA, to become a lawyer, and they are forced to become. And that the only job of an educational institute is to harness one's passion. A person's passion is a million times more sensitive and specific to that person than even fingerprints. Brain prints are a million times more sensitive. What I am passionate about, what gets my serotonin elevated, Sarika would not have those same passions. So I think that, and the reason behind that is I went to a school, and there were, I think, 1,000 students over there, and I asked in their assembly, how many of you want to become a teacher? And not even a single student raised their hands. And I asked why. Because teachers have, no one wants to become a teacher. The grassroots, the people who don't become doctors, engineers, lawyers, scientists, become teachers. We need to make this a priority, that teaching should become the most heaviest paid job in this world. Until that happens, our nation will constantly lag. आज भी out of 100 engineers that are born in our country, majority are doing mechanical engineering, which was required in 1965. So for us at Plaksha, we are a new age university to help students learn the industry 4.0 technologies like robotics, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, internet of things, autonomous vehicles and electric vehicle infrastructure, 5G infrastructure, 3D printing. I think the world is changing in ways unimaginable. Earlier, we used to see 45 to 50-year disruptive cycles where you would see a company, an entire stock exchange getting melted after 45 years. But lately, we've seen such volatility in the stock market and even in the startup space because of disruption by technology. The only way to not get disrupted is by adopting Industry 4.0. Artificial intelligence in the next 2 decades will be a part of every business, be it as as conventional business as agriculture. World's largest business, largest contributor of economy in the world is still agriculture. The second is healthcare. Both of them have not been disrupted by technology, and this thing which I called the Rania 53, the robotics, the artificial intelligence and machine learning in parameters, as this will lead to the future of entire new age skills, which will actually be in demand and to actually create more and more jobs in countries like India.
So this is so interesting because also your passion when you were speaking about that, how you are also helping innovators and startups and everyone to flourish, creating that ecosystem. Plaksha's vision is also about creating a innovative ecosystem and also nurture job creators rather than job seekers most of the time. So this is very interesting. You know, what is that one thing which you feel, I mean, we are talking about women in tech, and what is that one thing you feel that women bring on the table as their strength, and why do you think that kind of a diversity is important?
So it's a very sad plight in our country still that women in tech is an extremely minor portion of the entire people in tech in our country. And that needs to change on a yesterday basis, because I believe that any cohort that needs to make a decision that does not have women lacks something called empathy, which is one of the most important and pertinent core fundamental values of decision making by organizations, be it corporates, be it NGOs, be it small startups. So I feel that and we've been very mindful of the fact that in our core leadership we need to have an equal representation, and not because it's just important for a PR strategy alone, because nowadays that is the core focus, but it actually adds value. The more diversity you have in boards, and this is also a plea that we have been working with a lot of founders, with a lot of startups on an informal basis, to ensure that there is an equal representation from from both the sides on boards of companies, because and that's something that I have witnessed, that women are more long-sighted. They will not barter short-term profits with long-term sustainability issues. At the same time, massive amounts of empathy, it comes in each and every decision-making process. So I think diversity is extremely critical, and it is not only critical between in men and women, but the fact that you should have different people from different areas, as people who know tech, people who know business, people who know finance, people who know sales, people who know social, how to run a social enterprise. Because the more diversity you have, the better is the outcome of decisions that a particular company or a person can take, and the better decisions a particular company or a person takes, the better is the success eventually is.
Ritesh, one of the other things I would like to you to answer is about resilience. In today's, as you rightly said, that there's so much of disruption happening in different careers and the way we are working. Resilience is becoming a very big key thing. What is your take on it? Looking at the fact that you changed your careers quite a bit, and of course you're already. And I would like to also know what is your next passion. But what is your take on resilience in today's day and age?
I think resilience as a term is extremely becoming more and more relevant, because resilience stands for withstanding disruption. It's about making sure that you have no form. You become the most resilient commodity or element. If you talk about in the world is water. The only reason behind that is that it has no form. So going forward, you cannot be attached to a particular cause for a very long time if you don't change yourself enough. So making sure that again, in stemming from the same need of constantly getting yourself upgraded constantly. And the good part is, because of internet, getting yourself upgraded is not a question of capital, because it's almost free, but a question of will. The question is, where do you want to spend your time? Do you want to spend your time on Netflix, Facebook, WhatsApp, or do you want to spend your time on Upgrad, Unacademy, or platforms like Skillshare, and constantly work on positive skill development? And as a nation, by 2030, we will have 101 crore Indian internet users. 96% of them will be on mobile. We are an internet mecca. We are an internet open democracy. We do not have any difference between a national entrepreneur or an international company. Now, because of that, we will become the most exciting opportunity in the world for anyone. And just because of that, making sure that you constantly evolve, because there's a very interesting book called Who Moved My Cheese? Every business, you will not even imagine, it just takes 36 months. It just takes 3 years for a large company to topple down. So I truly believe that if
We've
yeah,
already
we've already seen.
companies topple down. I mean, what was
Yeah,
index of earlier years is not the same of today. So,
I agree.
before we sign off, Ritesh, I do believe that there's some time left. But before we sign off, I would like to, top three advice which you would want to give to our audience for, excelling in what they do and for the kind of careers they want to build.
So the first one would be, do something that you are mad about. Like, you should be so passionate about it that you don't see what money or check comes because of this You don't see time. You don't see whether your wife is yelling at you. You just get so mad about that problem. You just get so mad about the solution that you're creating for that problem that you leave the entire, and you just feel so connected with the entire problem that you just put your soul into that at challenge. So that is one. Second is ensure that you work really hard. I always say this, hard work eats talent for breakfast. Just working hard is an attitude. Make sure that you spend a lot of time, and because of internet you have a lot of options. Now is the time that you will be so distracted. Pehle Mirzapur will 2 will come, then you will have Scam 1992, then you will have Tarak Mehta ke Ulte Seedhe Chashme, everything will come. But your commitment to your own destiny, your commitment to your family, your commitment to put a bread on the table is extremely important. To work extremely hard, be the most, so I always say this, be the most hardest working person in the room. It's better than being the smartest person in the room. And the third one would be integrity. In a world which is so connected, there's nothing more important than integrity. 1965-75 was an era of IQ, your intelligence quotient. 1995-2005 was the era of EQ, your emotional quotient. How well do you navigate it with people? And 2025 onwards, you will have an era called TQ, trust quotient. How much trust can you instill in the other person? And while IQ and EQ are short-term goals, trust is long term. You never build trust. Trust is what McDonald's has built. I'm a vegetarian. I go to Switzerland, and the moment I see that yellow M sign, I know that this will have the same fries which I get in the mall, which is opposite my house. So that is trust. Making sure that you are massively integrity conscious. Do not barter your integrity with anything, even not with your life. Make sure that at you withstand the integrity test always.
So thank you so much, Ritesh. I think my key takeaways from this conversation, as usual, it's always a pleasure to hear you. And my key takeaways from this conversation has been that you need to remain relevant and pursue what you feel very passionate about, and make sure that you keep investing in yourself. And when I say invest, make sure it is investing in terms of your learning, in terms of building your network, seeking diverse perspectives, seeking mentoring, and also about being true to your values, being true to your integrity. Uh, this is so beautifully said, Ritesh. Thank you so much for your time. And I
Thank you.
really look forward to having this discussion again. And that's it from
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Ritesh and Ms. Sarika.